Live. Hello, everyone. You're
Hi.
welcome to today's book review. Sonia and Jeremy right here with Shining in Your Spotlight. Sonia, you're welcome, and I'm happy to have you review chapter 6 with me today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I know you want to share, so I'll just give you a few seconds.
Exactly.
Sometimes I don't
That
even do that, but I should be doing that as well so that my audience, my contacts can also see the link as well. All right. So today's topic is actually ditch that mindset. And this is chapter 6 of the book. And it's basically talking about perception. So we're going to discuss here perception. And we have a beautiful scripture from as our opening quote today, which is, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So as he thinks about himself, so is he. This is quite instructive. I think it's something that is very easy to understand, but we want to dive deep into it. Sonia, let me get your thoughts before we proceed.
yes, everything will be and will ever be and we want to be are all in the mind. I remember reading The Battlefield of the Mind by what's the name of this one?
Joyce
Something.
Meyer?
Thank you and bless you. When I was still in first year in the college, then that I
Mm-hmm.
read The Battlefield of the Mind, like it kind
Yeah.
of bring to light that for whatsoever, even to speak, whatever you want to say, you want to play that
Mm-hmm.
in your heart, in your
Yeah.
mind already.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing about when the Bible says the man think so even to down to the way you dress
Mm-hmm.
from your mind.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to put on, you already start making up and fixing the colors and however you want to look from your mind.
It's like an expression, your outward expression of anything and everything is from inside first,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Mm.
Everything we ever want to be. That's why I love so much. It's like a song. Be. It's from our minds. Okay,
Yeah.
building, creating. Limitations. What ifs. I can. I cannot. The thoughts, the whole processes, and you as a person. Sometimes people say the brain is the more. For me, the mind is the brain box of
It is.
whole system we call body.
Yeah.
To be honest, spiritually wise and also in terms of our, but like if a human, because whatever we want, we start from the mind.
Yeah.
How we relate to people, we start from the mind. What you want to be, start from the mind.
Yeah. I call it like the greatest tool. You know how you use a tool to do something, right? So I'm likening the mind as a tool, like what all that you need to be able to create something for yourself in your life. It starts from within. There's also another scripture in the Bible that says this like out of the good treasures of a man's heart, he brings forth good things. And that's
Mm-hmm.
the expression we're talking about. The expression of your life is an indication of all that is already inside you. So
Mm-hmm.
here we're talking about the fact that every creation is born with the potential, of course, to succeed, right? Just as the birds will fly, just as the fishes will swim, man is created to excel. But in that excelling, there has to be an understanding of the fact that you were made to flourish, and that
Mm-hmm.
becomes a responsibility. So if you know that this is your responsibility, then there are things you need to harness, things you need to do to be able to make that success that you were created to do. And one of it is the mindset, using the mindset in the way that you ought to. And of course, limiting beliefs, everything that is negative, you have to keep it away. Because as we grow up, right, everybody you see came from a background where nobody came from a background the world the influence or the impact of the world on a child growing up will always show. Your environment is a contributing factor, right? The people
Yeah.
that you live around, right, all contributes to the kind of person that you have become while you're growing up. But when you get to the stage where you're beginning to live out purposefully, because God calls us at different points, right? Everybody has his own timing of awakening and awareness in life, right? That's when you need to start to understand that negative mindsets needs to be ditched.
Yeah.
Mindsets of failure, of imperfections, of imposter syndromes, of even closed-mindedness. You know how sometimes you're like, this is the way I am, right? That is a terrible mindset. And in one of the last week's sessions that I did, like a short clip I did in on social, on I think on Facebook and all, I was talking about how one of my tutors was telling me that he has like a close circle, right? He doesn't really have friends and all of that. And of course, I know how the impact of relationships in the past can make you want to close in on yourself. But that's
Yeah.
also another limiting belief. You know what I mean, right?
Mm.
So it goes on and on. Is it self doubt? So yeah, Sonia, you can just throw more light on that.
Yeah, the beautiful thing, like when you say what comes to my mind, the biggest assets in this world is our mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like you said, people close up because of the what has happened in the past,
Yeah.
because they feel, and I'm one of those people, I will agree, I'll accept it. Because sometimes you feel, I don't have time to deal with some negativities around me, or I don't have
Mm-hmm.
time to like do something. So therefore, you know what? Instead of me to be in that spot where people will make you do things you don't want to do, you just
Yeah,
close up on that. So I will
exactly.
raise up my hand. I'm guilty of that as charged. you know, but then, I'm seriously, I'm learning. Like I watched that
Mhm.
section that you did, and I'm like, oh, okay. Do I need to open? Even if I open up, do I have time? To be honest, I listened to it, and I was telling myself, even if I open up to have, a lot of people in my circle, like, do I
Mhm.
really have time to dwell, that? But like you said, that is the mindset that I've put to myself, stating I don't have time. And
Mhm.
then I realize it's gonna hurt me a little bit because we can't be alone in this world. We need
Yeah.
people. And
Yeah.
everyone, like you shared in that video, have one or two things to bring to the table. Have one thing to
Mhm.
light to shine in your life. And also what the spirit
Yes.
is bringing to mind. You know how we sing this little light of mine? It comes from the heart,
Mhm.
your mind. What light do
Yeah.
you want to shine?
Yeah.
What do you want to let shine? Is it the limiting
Exactly.
beliefs of I can't? Or what do you want
Mhm.
to tell yourself that I'm limited? Or me that will always say one of my close circle, like if you're not there to
Yeah.
pull me up, I
That's
don't want you to pull me down. So I frame the thoughts to I just want my circle to be people who are going to lift me all the time. Okay.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think I kind of blind out to them people that I can also help to lift. You get
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
not everyone is there to bring you down, irrespective
Mhm.
of the fact that their personality might not match what your yardstick of relationship or yardstick of friends might be,
Yeah.
but then you can be the factor that needs to be in that circle to lift other
All the
people up. That is what the nuggets I get from that section. Honestly, I was very
mm,
guilty of that, of that section. I love what you said about growth and transformation starting from the mind. And
mm,
that is where God factor comes in.
yeah.
Man, we are limited as a man, but
Mhm.
with God inside of us and the Holy Spirit has actually helped us such a way that the mind becomes our playing ground where we
Mhm.
dwell things and where we listen and meditate. When we tell meditation, we meditate with our mind actually.
Yeah.
What is the right thing I need to remove the weeds and have
Mhm.
the right kind of crops inside.
Yeah.
Bring that kind of light. So it's like you kind of thinking, oh, this week I want to achieve X, Y, and Z. You might
Mhm.
not really know how you will achieve it, but because you set your mind on achieving it, you
Mhm.
see yourself going towards that task that will
Yeah.
help achieve it. Okay. But then if you tell yourself this week, you know what, I have this in mind, but I don't even know what to
Mhm.
do to get there.
Yeah.
You really like putting that limit to achieving that goal.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
like I like what you said about abandoned mindset of failure and imperfection, imposter syndrome, closed-mindedness, scarcity, and self-doubt. So, are you this person and your thought is always like, I can't even do what these people are doing? I
Mm.
have, so you know how we all say we are shy,
Yeah.
talk to anybody. It's all in the mind. Look at us now. You're looking at the camera have not cut off your head. Whether is your eyes missing, Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So all those things are negativities will build in our mind. And
Yeah.
that's why I tell everybody, everyone can become a millionaire. Honestly, everyone can achieve their goals if
Mhm.
you start from your mind to become one.
Yeah.
You will be one.
Yes.
You get it? And
Yeah.
that's the mental picture we always tell as a vision board, building
Mhm.
and making it real to yourself,
Yeah.
having the faith. Some people will say manifesting it, and all that. For us, it's about faith. So when the faith is those things that you want, you are seeing it from your mind. You have not seen it manifest, right? But the
Yep.
mind is your playing ground, is your
Correct.
building block.
Yes. And as you said something about building block, the mind being the building block, right? It's not just enough for you to say, "Oh, I've shifted from the mindset of okay, now I want people in my circle, I want more this," or yeah, I know I can become a millionaire. There has to be extra work done.
Yeah.
I just want to
Yeah.
read this part where I talked about the fact that your mind is a garden, right? It's like your thoughts are those seeds that are planted. So it could be thoughts that are like flowers that will bloom or weeds. But if you do not sow the good one, then the weeds will come out, right? That's
Yeah.
what gardening is. So that's the same way the mind has to intentionally acknowledge and confront and break off from those limiting beliefs. Like even like I had to deal with so much limiting beliefs to break off from, right? To be able to get to this point. And of course, there are still some that I'm becoming aware of that I didn't know was there, right? Because in my life is like, I mean, it's like a school, right? We keep learning, growing, and improving ourselves. So it's not like I'm all there yet, but I've broken up from so many and I'm here. And imagine many other things that are to come. So it's all about you replacing those limiting beliefs with intentional, call them affirmations, call them words that you speak to yourself to be able to position yourself in the new light that you want to be. Yeah.
Yeah. And we said your current level is life reflects in life reflects your current knowledge. As
Mhm.
you increase in knowledge, as your mind expands to accept new and productive information. I like that part. I said, as you increase, your mind expands. So now it's like contractility. You know what we do in physics, right? It's just
Mhm.
waiting for you. The
Yeah,
more you put into it, the more you expand. The
expands
more
it.
you put into it, the more you expand. So
Yeah,
whatever you feed this mind is what you have.
yeah.
See it straight from the mind of your spirit before you have it physical. So
Mhm.
and sometimes we look at I always use the terms like some people that we might not think they're Christians, that you see them like they have huge, followers, they have this huge I call it net worth, right?
Mhm.
But then you look at them and their lifestyle is
Mhm.
what tells them to where they are. They believe they can and
Yes.
walk towards it. And it brings up what we are talking about before we came live about the miracle money thing, right?
Mhm.
And when
Mhm.
the practices, the habits that you build to
Yes.
actually be the person you want to build.
Person.
You actually expanding your mind that you are what more,
Mm.
expand, feed this mind what you want, the right kind of stuffs you want
Yeah.
to and see, grow into a three that you go to this mind to put it in. What is your habits daily? How do you wake up in the morning? What do
Mhm.
you practice as your daily affirmations?
Yeah.
What do you say to your mind and to yourself? How your day is gonna be? What do
Yeah.
you hold on to?
Mhm.
Feel it to expand it for the growth you want in a day. And like I say, it's so beautiful. Like once you read one line of this book, and you're like, okay,
Yeah, and this thing you've just said about it's more like you have to become that person from your mind first, from
mhm,
within, before anything else would become like. If it's money you want to have, you have to first be that person that
yeah,
knows that I can have this thing, right? By
yeah. And what comes with the money having the responsibility?
exactly, yes. So it all starts from within. You have to become that person even before you start to see the rewards or the manifestation of whatever it is that you want to see.
Yeah, honestly, like you talked about the growth and transformation that starts in the mind. An example of resilience, determination in the story of Frederick Douglass, an American social reformer. Trust me, I don't know the story.
Yeah, yeah. It's all over. I mean, you can just Google it, right? This Frederick Douglass guy, he was a slave. And imagine a slave that later broke out and formed like a movement in America, right? And how it started, or what actually happened. The summary of the story is that the boy was actually being taught by his master's wife. And then the master came in and was like, don't teach this boy. Why would you want him to get educated? Because if he gets educated and if he more so knows about the Bible, he's going to know who he is and he's going to revolt. Like he's going to, they didn't want him to be exposed with the knowledge that he needed to break out as a slave. So with that in his head, he knew that there was more he needed to go to. Right. So he started to find all the rich kids. As a slave boy, he would find papers, whatever it is. They taught him how to read, and when it was time as he grew up, he broke out, like out of slavery. And of course, he
Mm,
didn't break out alone. He carried the other slaves along. and set them free, right? So he really made that movement just because of the knowledge that he gained and how he got exposed to who he was and was ready to carry out that action. So yeah, that's the
You know,
reason.
the story just kind of sparked like more like him having self-awareness, propelled him
Yes,
to growth.
yes,
You get,
yeah,
because when you have that self-awareness, where are you at the moment? What do you want? What is your end goal? Having the end in mind
yeah,
propels growth process. You know, and that's what sometimes I think that's what sometimes as individuals, sometimes we get dumped into, I call it dump into life, and we're just trying to figure things out, like you said, play out the script that we didn't write for ourselves.
yeah,
You know, and some people might not want to proceed to play the script, to be honest. I can tell you something. I'm sure that when God said that, like, I'm dragging you to go play the script, but then your limiting beliefs won't even let you be this person I want to be. That
yeah,
comes with the knowledge of God, deepening your awareness of who you are
yeah, yes,
and understanding your purpose here and
yeah,
running with that. And he said when he talked about perception shaping the trajectory of your life, you see of yourself. What do you see from your mindsets, from your mental image of who you are? You
yeah,
know, and you talked about, I use a mirror all the time. Like I have I just remember it's very old and rickety. I think I'm gonna still take a picture of it. I put my vision board on my mirror when I started my business. It's already moving a bit tarry, but then I had an image of the box of money, image of this car, image of this house, image of my growth. That was the first thing I put in my first year. You know, being like growing to understand what I'm doing, you know, because I was fresh into it. I was still going on through my trainings and all that. You know, and I put this in, and I can tell you the way I've said it that this year growth, this year, that is how it played out. That's to tell you the perception, what you see. And I purposely put it on that mirror because I wanted the fact that I'm coming to brush, I'm building the mental image of what I've written. And I'm just speaking words into myself, you know, because I can see me. The me I'm talking to is the me I'm singing. It's the me I want this thing to come. And it started from mind. It didn't start from what I have in the brain. It started from how I want to grow. And that's the knowledge of God, deepening your own self-awareness.
yeah,
Who are you really? What are you here for? You know, it starts from that knowledge you have of who you are. Then it propels to you building your mind to that. And like you talked about the mind expanding what you
yeah,
feel. If you don't feel it, it remains, you know, myopic and rigid and very, you know. Then when you expand it, you know, and that's what, like you said about relationship, that's why sometimes there's this kind of individual that can never come together because they see it as a struggle, right? That's the way they propel isn't the way you want to be. And
yeah,
then the mindset we have back home as in when, oh, that a woman cannot propose to a man, and then woman cannot have more than the man, and all the,
yeah,
you know, the mindset and the
those,
culture wise, right?
yes,
So
yes,
those things kind of limit the blessings of God. And sometimes because it's what you've put in your head, even when this set of people come together, sometimes you see their marriage wouldn't work because the society has made it look like if you don't shrink into the size of this man, right? You
yeah,
can't
you
have a
cannot,
successful marriage. But
yeah,
what happens if this mind expand his mind
okay,
to
to fit,
fit? And
yeah,
that's what happened with the likes of what was this name of this woman again that she does ministry now? Ibuku, somebody, because the husband,
right?
he could step up to his ministry, to her ministry, and he
Yes,
could say, you know what, this is what God has called it to be. Go
exactly,
on. So you have to actually expand your mind from the societal norm,
yes,
from the cultures and the used to, and the not like things that we were taught. This is what we have run through chapter 1 to chapter 6 now to say, despite what our immediate environment, all the culture, all the norm have actually instilled in you, you can actually deepen your own knowledge, expand the mind from being this norm, culture, societal values, everything, to expanding it to actually expressing yourself
yes,
in that image and likeness of
God,
God.
yeah.
And that is the beautiful part of an amazing part when you say ditch your mindset.
Like it's like an unlearning of all that needs to be unlearned
Mm,
and taking on what needs to be taken for you to like expand and grow into the full potential or the fullness of who you are meant to be.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and this is not to in any way degrade employees, right? But there's also another employee mindset.
Yeah.
I'm talking specifically about the mindset now, not the fact that you're working a job. No, that's not about it. The fact that you have that mindset that you cannot create value aside your job. And that's what's keeping many people in a kind of circle that they keep going around, right? Instead of finding something else that you can, do to create value for others and be able to live life still well enough
Mm-hmm.
versus being stressed out in a job just because you haven't expanded your mind to the capacity that creates values for others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love the narrative that you talk about a lion being a majestic creature. It kind of brings those cartoons we watch when we're little. When the
Lion,
lion
right? Lion to
when the
sleep.
lion roars, like even
Mhm.
humans run for it. But
Yes.
then when you see a little deer stand up to it at some point, the
Hmm.
lion wonders, what is in your what who do you think you are? Do you
Yeah.
know who you know? And immediately the deer, like it's a cartoon, actually they played them well. Immediately the deer roared, the lion to run. Like what so this thing that trust me, I can stand up to you. You get what I mean?
Hmm.
So it
Hmm.
all happens from the mindset. It's not as if it's like the biggest animal, but there
But
are
he knows that he is strong enough to do, like, it's just a mindset that I'm
mind.
the king of this jungle and I would take anything down, even if you're an elephant.
I'm telling you, it's just the
Yeah.
mindset of knowing that, you know what? Even if you're bigger than the elephant, I can still destroy you. And
Yeah.
he's walking for the lion. But then, when this, just to cut it, like I said, like, but it makes a lot of sense to me saying, no matter how strong or whoever you like, you can actually step up and
Hmm.
actually change the narratives for yourself. You know, when
Yeah.
you talk about placing value, and that is what a lot of people don't realize that there is a reward in making an impact. There's a reward in the value that daily, not just about you, even in your place of work anyway, or in you looking at like now is the time that man has to look inward
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
whole
Most definitely.
environmental noises and everything going on. What is that thing that you can actually I told you one lady, I said monetize whatever you want to do. It's a
Yeah.
gift you have, right?
Yeah.
So man needs to look inward.
Hmm.
What is that talent I have? Because for every one of us, God has blessed us with it. Because He said in the scripture, some I give teachers, prophets, apostles. We all have a gift and a talent.
Yeah.
How are you ready to deepen the knowledge of what God has given you? It's from you realizing, like from your mind, this is what I need to do for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is who God has called me to do. This is what I need to do. And when you said what once seemed significant now appeared trivial, like sometimes we make things, we look at things like, oh, you, and then opinions, kind of make people even shrink the mind more.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You think, what will people say? What would they do? We all have opinions, okay? So we all have, even when you say you are doing the right thing, I myself have my opinion of what I think
Of
you're doing is
course,
wrong.
of that thing, yes.
We all have opinions to everything. Even when you dress well, people still like, why do you
Hmm.
have to dress this? So everyone has opinions. So earlier you realize that whether it's a good one or a negative one, there
There
is
must
always
be
an
an
opinion.
opinion.
So
Yep.
don't shrink your goals, your dreams because of the opinion you are expecting. And sometimes it comes from our mind. We by ourselves.
Sometimes it's all in your mind. Nobody's even thinking that deeply about it the way you have decided to give it a thought. Yes.
I'm telling you, but we kind of build stories, we kind of build negativities and all those things in the mind, and it limits you from the blessings.
Yeah.
It limits you from the value that you would have placed on someone, and it makes you static. A lot of time, people you can't grow forward because sometimes you by yourself will
Hmm.
talk yourself out of the growth and
Yes.
talents you have
Exactly.
by
Another,
looking for validations where they don't exist
even from the wrong places in
from
the.
the wrong places.
Yeah.
Mind
Honestly.
allows you to focus and shift towards finding solutions and then unlocking the path to success.
Yeah.
Honestly, like how can we grow out of this?
Yeah. For me, that's what I really love about the Bible. It makes you develop, cultivate a winning mindset, regardless of anything, any situation, any circumstance. You know how it says that in all these things we're more than conquerors, right? Like that's all you're looking for. even if the situation does not look like it's promising, but you
Yeah.
know that you must collect your wins and your victories from whatever the situation is. So that
Yeah.
happening is what each and every one of us needs to be able to win.
Yeah. And I
Wow.
love that, when you talked about challenge the tendency to view something too difficult, instead embrace the question of how to overcome it.
Yeah.
That's our day-to-day life.
Mhm.
Honestly. You know, when you talk about, oh, how do I settle down and get married? Now get married. Oh, how do I have children? Now you are pregnant. How do I give birth to this child? And the thing is, everything is gonna play out fine.
Yeah.
But then because
Eventually.
mind with the difficulties, you build a mental image of how difficult those things are,
Yeah.
and that's why sometimes some people will tell you, oh, I went through childbirth and it wasn't painful. Like, what did
Mhm.
you do?
How?
How? That's because the person builds this mental picture of this
Oh
is
yes.
how effortless, smoothless I want it to be. And it
Effortless.
comes with everything in life.
Mm-hmm.
With whatever thing we want to start up or whatever thing we want to do, there is this tendency of actually talking yourself out of it
Yes.
by building a wall of difficulty. Oh, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is not for me. Oh, you're already looking at the process and building difficulty in it rather
Yes.
than changing it to how the problems are, the taxes I
Finding
need to
the
do.
solutions, yes,
So,
to be able to arrive there. This particular part talks about excuses, and that kind of relates to what you're saying. And here I
mm,
say that the extent of your excuse is the boundary of your achievement. So
that's
you
it.
put a ceiling at that place where you have made your excuse. That means you're
Mhm.
not growing past that level ever, as long as you still have those excuses, because those excuses are like self-imposed
Yeah,
boundaries. It's we
yeah,
that has placed that on ourselves. And there's a quote that says excuses are the tools of the incompetent, and those who specialize in them, they seldom go far. So let us ditch. This is one of the mindsets we need to ditch. Excuse mindset is one of the mindsets that we need to ditch to be able to move forward in life. So
yeah.
here we talk
Makes so
about,
much sense,
yeah,
honest. Makes
yeah.
so much. And that's the quote I'm going to drive through this week. Anyway, guys, excuse.
Excuses, right? You
Tools
always
of
find something.
confidence.
Okay. All right. So let me see what else is left here. Hmm. Challenge the tendencies to view something too difficult and instead embrace the question of how to overcome it. Right? That's what you're talking about. By so doing, you're liberating yourself from the constraints of having that mindset that, you're just looking at limitless possibilities in
Yeah.
essence. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that's
kind
why
of.
most times I always use the word that well, as Christians, right?
Mhm.
If anything you put your heart to do, you believe that you achieve it is already yours.
Yeah.
The same way we say the Bible talked about all things are possible to anyone who believes.
Believes, yes.
And most times I like when people say, oh, if this person can do it, I can do it. Like they don't have two heads, it's one head. Already
Mhm.
you've conquered the difficulty of setting up, to be honest. That's
Mhm.
what I tell people. When you have that I can do it mentality,
Oh,
the
yes.
rest of it is just,
Oh,
the
yes.
rest
You're like more than 80% there.
done. You get it. So even when you
Yes.
encounter challenges on the way, you're like, I can do
Mhm.
this. These
Yeah.
people have gone through this hurdle and so why can't I? And
Yes.
once you have that in your mind, you've already, like you said, 80% done and succeeded in
Mhm.
it. It's just
Yes.
to proceed. And that's the mindset that the Wrights family had when they were building the aeroplane. That's the mindset that all innovations we have today, nobody
Mhm.
started it because they feel, oh, I don't think anybody can fly in the sky. Or I
Mhm.
don't think anybody can go on a hike.
It's more
And
like, what if? I think
what
the question is, what if somebody can fly in the sky?
that's it.
You
And
see,
now
that
you have cars
expands
flying.
your mind. Yes.
You get it? Look at China. They build cars flying. Look at the
Mm,
cars these days. You don't even need to drive them.
mm.
This car came out from the mindset of I can do it. And
Yes.
the critical thinking that comes with, oh, this light here, I can even talk. Now we talk with on our lights without even having to go
I
walk.
know. Yes.
We just say close the curtain. It's closed. Turn on the lights.
It's
Everything is
fun.
automated. And
Yeah.
it's just by men, you and I, saying, I can
I
do
can.
this.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why now I told myself that the next 10 years, I don't know what will become of us. Maybe we'll want
Of
to sleep. We say
course.
sleep, and the body will because every
Because
day
there are
there's
limitless possibilities.
possibility.
That's the way
Yeah,
God has created the world, right?
that's
Limitless possibilities because He's limitless, actually, right?
the thing. Because we
So,
are his. You get what I mean? And
yeah,
then that's the way he wants us to kind of build. Imagine the word. Read Genesis 1.
hmm,
Nothing was here. God even used his own mind, like, oh, okay. Oh, we can actually make something out of this thing.
yeah, yeah,
He spoke a word. You and I talking here, all these things like it's just God going out of his way to say, yeah, we can be this and man can. And we came out. And that's
yeah,
how he wants us to operate as well.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
the Bible says, yeah, God, we are God. So when
God,
these things come in place, I'm like, God, the wisdom you've given unto us, do you think you can place a pause at this point or you want to leave it on play?
it's on play, oh, it's on play, like it's limitless. It's like the unsearchable, you know, the way the Bible says the unsearchable riches of Christ.
Yeah.
That's the same way that this thing we're talking about is so unsearchable, like it keeps growing and we'll keep seeing wonders as we progress. That's why it's important not to limit yourself, your mind, to the current situation so that you can actually live fully and express the best of who you are and who you can become. You know, there's this part, the last paragraph in this chapter actually says, the only obstacle between you and your desires may lie within your beliefs. So you need
Mhm.
to check, what do you really believe? What are those things that you hold dear to yourself? Sonia, please, you can just continue just 1 second.
Okay, so the thought, okay, to transform your life, you must be willing to let go of outdated belief, and that's so beautiful. Being willing to let go of those beliefs is when it's going to unveil the fresh possibilities, and like the thoughts to consider. Okay, and that's because we view the world and is influenced by relationship, by our
Yeah.
past experiences, by our beliefs, by the teachings, which act as lenses to shaping our reality. Like what we talked about earlier,
Mhm.
having those norms, values that we are taught, what our parents view as life for them, they put it in us and we see it as, wrong or bad. And when you move to a new place or you see people doing some things, you tell me, you become judgmental about it because that's not your culture. So at
Yeah.
times, like you said, these lenses may be clouded by negativity or doubt
Mhm.
and distorting your outlook. And that's so true, causing
Yeah.
you to underestimate your own potential. So
Mm.
acknowledge that many limitations you encounter stems from your mindset, which
Yeah.
is true. Like everything we talked about today, everything we want to be, everything that there is to be, parts of facts from the mindset.
Yeah. It's within you.
It's
Yes.
within you.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you challenge those mental barriers, you will uncover new possibilities, new opportunities, new pathways to success. Okay, previously hidden in your perception. I like that part.
Mm.
Previously hidden, because most times I always share, I said we have so much in us that we don't even accord ourselves or give ourselves the opportunity to be that person.
Yeah.
Okay. The key is transforming your life lies in shifting your internal perspective rather
Rather
than
than your
external
external circumstances.
circumstances.
Yes, it starts from shifting your mindset first, your internal perspectives. And I think I'm led to say this. This is not anywhere here in this thought to consider, but it's important that sometimes we cannot do these things alone. So now you know how you got here.
Yeah.
Right? I know my own journey on
Yeah.
where I am right now, right? We need other people. We need
Mhm.
to find the right circle, the right group, the right people. I don't know, coach, mentor, whatever, community, but to connect with the right people to be able to help us in this shift. And that's how we're going to see a difference, a change, and that's how we blossom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love what you said in ending this, like I always share with you guys. This book we are doing the review is not just for us to create awareness, it's beyond the book. And this is, like we always say, inspired by the spirit to bring to life in such a time as this, because we all need to shift our narratives. The
Mhm.
innovation, the system, the processes, everything is geared towards God actually making you or bringing you to that light to shine in your spotlight.
Yeah.
Know who you are. Do
Mhm.
not have all those excuses or limiting beliefs. He has given you all things. Like there is no
Okay.
reservation. All things.
Oh,
So all the system, the process, the people, the nation, everything you need, he has given it to you.
yeah.
But then most times our mind. So, like what we talked about, you need to ditch every excuse, change your perspective about things. Okay. and gear towards what do I need to do to be the person God has called me to be? What do
Yes.
I need to do to walk in the pathway? So this book is on Amazon. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Get it for yourself there. The link is there so that you have the hard copy, or if you're a soft copy or audible reader or people that like, get it as well.
All available.
All available, and make it happen for yourself. So if you're like me that like to listen to educative and enriching and refreshing things while you're driving, you can also do that and get the audio, okay? And
Yeah.
daily your life will be blessed, okay? And like
Yeah.
we always say here, is all about radiating the light that God, and I even know the light you want to shine. Like
Mm-hmm.
what kind of light you want to turn in the world? What do you want to live for? And what do you want to be remembered with? This is all that ties to this. And we pray the Lord will bless your heart,
Man.
daily as we increase our knowledge. Because trust me, when we do this, I learn a different aspect of this book. I read the book, but then it keeps opening my mind to what God actually, this book was made. It
Yeah.
was made for me, and I'm very sure it's made for you as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All
yeah.
right.
Thank you so much. All right, so this is where we wrap it up. Next week, by God's grace, we'll then be coming with the next chapter, chapter 7, something else so very interesting. We look forward to seeing you then. For now, have a blessed and an amazing week ahead. See you.
Guys.
Ciao.